Nicole from Bite Me. And today I have a recipe that's really close to my heart. It's my Dada's yellow cabbage recipe. Now it is actually white cabbage that we use for the recipe, and the yellow comes from the turmeric that we're going to add. Now this was my dad's favorite vegetable growing up because they couldn't afford a lot, and my nana used to cook a lot of cabbage. And this is extra special because I lost my dad last year, and this whole show and especially this recipe is kind of a tribute to him. So if I start crying during the show, now you know why, and you'll get why I'm doing it. So let's start with a wok, because for some reason my mother always made this in this really big wok, or as we call them at home as well, sometimes kadais. You could use a flat pan as well for this. Now I'm going to start with about a tablespoon and a half of any neutral oil. I'm using some sunflower oil. Okay. My dad called a lot of things, named a lot of foods based on their colors. So his favorite vegetable was obviously the yellow cabbage, and his favorite rice was yellow rice. And yellow rice is pretty much like a pulao, but it was yellow because my mother used to add turmeric to it. And I think all of this was so special to my dad because it reminded him of his mother, Nana Mavis, so much, my Nana Mavis. So to start with, you're going to wait for your oil to heat up a little bit, and then you're going to add some mustard seeds. Oops, which have already gone all over the place, as mustard seeds often do. Now you could add pretty much whatever you wanted to this. You could add some chilies at this point as well. I don't normally do that because I want to keep the recipe as simple as possible, because I just want to taste the cabbage as a lovely side dish, and I don't want it to overpower everything else. So I'm just going to add about half a teaspoon of mustard seeds at this point. Okay, just let them sputter a little bit. A little bit more for good luck. So roughly about little less than a whole teaspoon. Okay. You're going to wait for your mustard to sputter. Also at this point, if you wanted to add some curry leaves, that would be perfect. But like I was saying, I want to keep this recipe super simple for people who are going to cook at home just for like themselves, or as a side dish, or for new cooks. Now over here I have around 600 grams of cabbage. Okay, just going to pop that all in. And you're going to start stirring really vigorously at this point. Well, as vigorously as the cabbage allows anyway. Make sure your flame is high for all of this. Now, I know it looks like a lot of cabbage, but it is going to shrink down in size. So this whole recipe is ready in about, 15 minutes maximum, because you're cooking everything kind of on a high flame. So it cooks fast, and it is cabbage. You don't want it to overcook and become super wilty, because that way you're going to lose all of that lovely texture. If you're in a hurry, this is the simplest vegetable to make, as long as you have the cabbage already cut and kept. I remember in my house growing up, my father would always cut the cabbage, and then my mother would cook it. And I just realized that even at this point now, after I've been married, my husband cooks the cabbage for me, cuts the cabbage for me. So just 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Okay. Be careful with turmeric, don't overpower your vegetable with it. For about 600 grams, 1 teaspoon is more than enough. And I'm just going to stir this around. So once you've mixed this quite well and gotten the turmeric or the haldi to spread all over the cabbage, we're going to add your salt next. Okay, I'm going to start with just 1 teaspoon, a little less than that. I like to leave salt up to your own discretion. Now if you wanted to change this up a little bit, you could use this as your base, and you could add maybe, like I said, curry leaves, or some desiccated coconut, some green chilies, or if you're feeling slightly more adventurous, add some chorizo, just some sliced pieces of chorizo and garlic to this. Perfection. So what I'm going to do next is what my mom does often, is just add a few tiny slivers of some tomato, and that's it. And I think my mom does this only because she tends to have like some tomato left over, or for maybe just that slight sweet sour taste that comes out from the tomatoes. When my dad used to make this, he kind of just put maybe 2 green chilies and the mustard seeds and then the cabbage and the turmeric, obviously. Let this fry for about 2 to 3 minutes more, and it should be done by then. So you want your cabbage to get these lovely brown burny bits on some parts. That's going to add for a delicious flavor. This is a wonderful side dish or an accompaniment to, say, a curry or dal and rice. This is the perfect veg to go with it. It's delicious, but it's not encroaching on anything else. It's just there in the background being wonderful. Kind of like my dad. A simple man, and just like was always just there to support everyone else. So at this point my cabbage is done and ready. Put it off. If you want to use this base to do anything else with it, coconut, curry leaves, chilies, whatever you want, you can go ahead and do that as well. Now, no meal in our house was complete without a vegetarian dish as well to accompany the non-vegetarian. And we often had cabbage, and this was my dad's favorite recipe. And I love having it with just some curry and rice or some dal and rice. I love the earthiness of the turmeric and the mustard together, and then the sweetness from the cabbage. It's so simple, it doesn't need a lot to make it look fantastic, and I'm sure my dad would be very proud of me. So I hope you try this vegetable recipe, the yellow cabbage. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell button for some more recipes.